Yo, what's up, you guys? So today we're going to chat about the establishment's view on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. I think it's important to, separate who the establishment is versus this technological revolution that's happening, if you will, and economic revolution. So just a minute, because I'm going to live stream also on Facebook, so I'll just need a few. It'll be pretty quick. Oops. That. There. Leave that alone. Public. Oh, actually, I'm going to pull this over here. Cool. Alright, let's get going. Alright, Facebook. We're live. Also. So, for my Facebook fam, honestly, I just wanted to make a couple videos and talk about the establishment's view on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, because I think it's important to distinguish the two, of who the establishment is and who this an entire group or revolution of technological innovation and what's going on. So anyways, I want to sit here and watch a few of these videos with you. So who we see here first, shit, I forgot who the guy's name was. Oops. Anyways, but he was a former chief economist of the World Bank. So let's listen to what he has to say about Bitcoin.
If Bitcoin were to be regulated, could it be viable?
Look at one of the main functions of government is to create currency, and Bitcoin is successful only because of its potential for circumvention, lack of oversight. So it seems to me it ought to be outlawed. It doesn't serve any socially useful function. We ought to just go back to what we always have had, and this is just a bubble, as several of your commentators have already pointed out. It's a.
All right. So just quickly, first of all, Bitcoin should be outlawed because it's not regulated. These guys, I'm telling you, are running afraid of Bitcoin, and they'll continue to disparage it. And remember, guys, I mean, we just came off of the campaign trail of 2016, and I know a lot of you progressives out there, and also libertarians. As a matter of fact, whatever you affiliate yourself with as far as politics, I know a lot of you guys are sick and tired of the same old shit, the status quo, if you will. Anyways, listening to these guys reminds me of that type of nature trying to maintain the status quo. So it's funny. It's funny. Bitcoin should be outlawed, this guy says.
Going to give a lot of people a lot of exciting times as it rises up and then goes down. But what I was talking about is the medium of exchange that we use for transaction. And what I was trying to say is rises up and then goes away from paper into the 21st century of a digital economy.
This is away from your Nobel Prize, and it's away from your acclaim in economics, but I'm going to go there anyways. Charles Mackay, 1841, talks about our peculiar follies in the behavioral component that makes for these bubbles, whether it's 1637 and tulip bulbs, 1840 growth. Bring up the chart here. Here's the bubble in the making. This is log Bitcoin. I can't stand the arithmetic charts. And this is all you need to know. This is massive convexity. I haven't seen that chart since the tulip bulbs when we were doing surveillance by semaphore. Professor Stiglitz, they're relying on a Marxist theory of value. They're going back to Middle Marx and looking at the value of exchange. It's smoke and mirrors, isn't it?
Precisely.
Thank you. Why?
Well, the value of a Bitcoin today is expectations of what the Bitcoin is going to be tomorrow. If the government says, look, The reason Bitcoin is being
If the government says, listen, these guys, we're looking at a dinosaur when it comes to economics. Seriously. This dude's old. He doesn't realize, the new age of which we're living in now. And the guy is stuck in the past. I'm serious. So, anyways, you could sit and look at his accolades and research the guy, but honestly, nothing of value comes out of his mouth. So yeah, sorry about the music, you guys. So let's go to the next one, and let's go to this next video. So what we have here is the head of J.P. Morgan, so Jamie Dimon, and this was a while ago, probably about a month ago. Where basically he says people who buy into Bitcoin are stupid. But listen to the audacity and the pompousness of these people. And remember, we have to remember, these guys are the establishment. These guys are going to be the ones that are going to be disrupted most and topple. So a lot of anger behind these guys. But it's a very, very sad view, if you ask me. So let's listen to Jamie Dimon, CEO of J.P. Morgan. Okay.
I got to ask the B question. Bitcoin. You made a lot of news. What's the bottom line?
I could care less about Bitcoin. I don't know why I said anything about it. The blockchain is a technology, which is a good technology. We actually use it. It will be used for a lot of different things. God bless the blockchain. Cryptocurrencies and digital currencies, I think are also fine. J.P. Morgan moves $6 trillion around the world every day. We don't do it in cash. It's done digitally. If it can be done digitally with the blockchain, so be it. But it'll still be a dollar cryptocurrency. What I have an issue with is a non-fiat cryptocurrency. Dollar, so crypto...
What he has trouble with, because remember, these guys are the ones that actually control the money flow in the United States and even around the world. They transact a lot of fiat currencies globally.
Sterling, euro, yen, they're all fine. I don't personally understand the value of something that has no actual value. You all can do whatever you want, and I don't care.
It doesn't have actual value. These guys don't get or understand what the blockchain is technologically and cryptographically. It's a renaissance. It's a revolution. It's a brand new innovation of cryptography that gives us a level playing field. There's so many more technical aspects of it. But yeah, anyways, let's keep listening to this guy.
Okay.
All right. That sounds definitive. Bitcoin hit a new high today.
I could care less what Bitcoin trades for, how it trades, why it trades, who trades it. If you're stupid enough to buy it, you'll pay the price for it one day. I've also told people that it can trade at $100,000 before it trades to zero. So tulip bulbs traded for $75,000 once, something like that. The only value of a Bitcoin is what the other guy will pay for it. And I think, honestly, I think there's a good chance that Bitcoin, a lot of the buyers out there are up there jazzing up every day so that maybe you'll buy it too and take them out. And I quite mean that, by the way. These people are very good at manipulating the press these days and getting news out. And so every day, you have CNBC, nonstop Bitcoin. Who cares about Bitcoin? I mean, the world's economy is so big. We move, JP Morgan alone, these companies, $6 trillion. We move all this money. And Bitcoin in total is all these currencies are $50 billion, maybe $1 billion trades a day. And the other thing I've always made of Bitcoin, governments, and this is not a technological statement, governments are going to crush it one day. Governments like to know where the money is, who has it, and what you're doing with it. And in case you haven't noticed.
In case you haven't noticed, governments like to control your money, know where it's at, how it's being spent and transferred, and who it's going to. These guys like to observe and not and want money to be transparent when it comes to the population, but yet when the money goes upwards and disappears out of the sight of the average citizen, nobody can see what the hell is being done with it then, right? we can't see what's going on with their with governments funding, what corporations are doing with their offshore tax havens, and all of these things, right? But they want to control the everyday person like you and I. All I'm trying to do here is give you a perspective of what these guys actually think, of how these guys actually think, and how they observe how society is being run and operated. It's crazy. Like the people over here watching it, you guys, we're just average people, and so are these guys. And I just want to give you that that view between the two, because it's a huge gap, and these guys think they're going to continue getting away with this. But anyways, I think we could all agree that we don't want governments tracking our money and knowing what we're doing. They don't like the use of cash. That's why we've gone digital into credit cards and shit like that. But let's continue. I don't want to rant too much.
Okay? And governments like to control their currency, like to control their own economy. So China's already put curbs on it. Japan, they say Japan accepted Bitcoin. No, they didn't. What I gather Japan did was...
China's put curbs on it. This was filmed back in October. By the way, China has lifted those curbs, so no longer there. China has accepted Bitcoin. Okay, when it comes to ICO, it's a different story. They're a little more, they want to dissect that a little more, but they've accepted Bitcoin. Let's continue.
They call it J-coin. It's a yen cryptocurrency. It's not a non-fiat. And there's a big difference. People have said legitimately, okay, it's close to gold. Not really. Gold is limited and has been around a long time, and it's close to a fiat currency. Not really. A fiat currency is where the government says, this is your legal tender. You have to give it and accept it. And there's a central bank. Now,
all right, so that's how we must live. We must always accept what the government tells us, because that's what's best for you and I. Okay, we're not smart enough to figure these things out by ourselves. And first of all, so he said Bitcoin does not have, is not, how do I say this? Is not finite. Bitcoin is finite. There's only supposed to be 21 million Evermind. Okay, and that's supposed to happen at around 2140. So it is finite. It's becoming rare, just like a gold. Okay. So, anyways, let's. I want to tell you the other truth. Okay, these guys believe one truth, which is actually quite false. But yeah.
Of course, they can misuse it, the central bank, and inflate it. So there is a use case for Bitcoin. If you live in Venezuela, North Korea, or if you're a criminal, great product. I mean that. It's better than cash or deposits in that country. Cuba,
Cuba, Venezuela. It's good for criminals to use Bitcoin. He's talking about Bitcoin. And then he's disparaging other countries. He just mentions Cuba. Like the pedestal that these guys stand on is, I'm sorry, but it's gonna be taken out. And look at how frustrated the guy is when people bring up Bitcoin. He knows he's withering in his last days. That's it. That's what's going on. What a sad way to live. Let's so this here is Michael Bloomberg. So if you guys don't know, Michael Bloomberg's worth is like $40+ billion. Used to be the mayor of New York, like 108th mayor or something. And again, these people that we're talking about are the establishment. Okay, they don't want to see the actual progress that humanity and society want to pave for themselves. This guy endorsed Hillary Clinton. If there are any Hillary Clinton supporters on the other side, I'm sorry, but Hillary Clinton is the establishment. I wouldn't vote for her for the mere fact that she's a female. She's got a lot of dirty baggage. But anyways, this man endorsed her. Let's listen to what he has to say.
For small businesses and businesses in general, when do they have to have a Bitcoin strategy? Mike?
Not in our lifetime.
For real? Really?
Bitcoin is not, forget about whether you think it's a fraud.
I'm sorry. So this one here is so Lloyd Blankfein is in here too. Lloyd Blankfein is Goldman Sachs CEO. Remember, Goldman Sachs dumped millions and millions and millions of dollars into the Hillary campaign and the Democratic Party trying to get her elected. Again, the establishment. Remember, Hillary Clinton took, like, what was it, $200,000 speaking fees to talk to Goldman Sachs. That's an access way, you guys. These are the establishment, okay? Let's see what they have to say about Bitcoin. That's so scary. Criminals are using it. They're still on about that shit. It's crazy.
Fraud, whether you think it's a game and tulip bulbs or not. The small businesses have to worry about how they're going to attract 5 people to produce a product, how they're going to figure out how to sell it and keep the door open and clean up at the end of the day. Small businesses are where the rubber meets the road. They're not dealing in extensive financial transactions. They're dealing in trying to create products that people want to buy. And it's one person selling to one person, much more so than all of the things we talk about.
So let's broaden that out, Lloyd. You have not rejected or endorsed Bitcoin, okay? But when does Goldman have to have a Bitcoin strategy?
Have to have it?
Yeah.
Not today. I mean, I said when. I'd say life must be really, really rosy if this is what we're talking about. It just feels...
This is what Wall Street's talking. Okay, so I was talking to Jeff Curry over at Goldman the other day, and he said the only thing that people are asking him are Bitcoin and EVs. So you're a huge investment bank. You have to be
must be really
about
rosy
this.
if this is... Yes, I'm thinking about it because I get asked about it. I said, look, where I am is it's not for me, but there's a lot of things that weren't for me in the past that worked out very well. If you told me that if it was 20 years forward and it worked out, I could tell you why it worked out. But based on everything I know, I'm not guessing that it will work out. But I can't say, I'm not going to stand there and be strident and say it's a fraud. It can't, because it might.
Alex, I think also people confuse Bitcoin with BitChain. There is a blockchain. There is a technology where you can have different accesses to data. Different people can control it. You can see who's doing what and that sort of thing. And there are places where that is a useful thing. In fact, the Bloomberg system is a blockchain. We just, instead of having the users control it, we control it. But it has all the attributes of that. Bitcoin is something very different. Bitcoin, and there's a whole bunch of cryptocurrencies that have been started every day. You have a new one. That's something.
All right, hold on. So Bev said we lost audio. Can you guys hear me? Just a quick little... I'm going to check in with chat to see if they could hear me. Somebody in chat said we lost audio, guys. So I don't want to talk too much just in case we did lose audio. Yeah, cool. So Eric says he hears me. Perfect. So back to this video, what we see is Lloyd Blankfein, CEO of Goldman Sachs, and then Michael Bloomberg here chatting about Bitcoin and giving their view. So yeah, what I'm trying to do, there's your headphones. There's her headphones. So let's keep listening into these guys.
Something very different, and whether or not the governments of the world will lose control of monetary policy, I'm skeptical. They're just not going to let that happen, and they shouldn't.
Something that moves up and down 20% a day.
Government shouldn't lose control of monetary if it's a monetary cash flow and control. I think that was redundant. Yeah, it's hilarious. These guys and they continue to say that government's not going to let it happen. And what's crazy, and what I continue to tell people is these guys, when you listen to them, they pretend like you're or they rather they view what you're telling them as if you're trying to question their authority. But it's hilarious because honestly, Bitcoin and blockchain are going to continue to trample over these guys. And I'd love, like, I'm not, listen, you want to stay in power, go for it. But try and control Bitcoin or blockchain. Try it. See what happens. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing they can do. So it's funny. And I think they know that. I think they know that deep down. But what they want to do is change the narrative. They want to change your mindset about it. So that's why we're here. We need to educate each other on what the hell is going on. And why the establishment continues to hate on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. They're all good with blockchain.
Day doesn't feel like a current, doesn't feel like a store.
And it's
value.
just being quoted up and down. There's no value.
Maybe
It's
not
not
a
traded,
currency, but Jeff Curry told me it was a commodity, and that goes to your expertise, Lloyd. You grew up in the commodity business. So talk to me about what are the unregulated trading world of Bitcoin? Like, where's the fraud going to come?
The whole concept is, I don't, well, first of all,
but is it buyer, is it seller, is it price discovery? Like, where's the risk there
look,
in the financial
one of the main uses of Bitcoin is as a vehicle for perpetrating fraud. I mean, because you can't trace it. There's no payment.
So is cash sometimes.
So is cash. But guess what? It's hard to accumulate cash sometimes.
Yeah, but the world...
It's hard to accumulate cash. For those who don't know, here's a little bit of some facts, and you could go out and research it yourself. Remember, massive bank, HSBC. They were actually, I think, creating boxes where they could funnel millions and millions of dollars of fiat dollars, so that, you know, cartels could use it, and that could be distributed on the black market. So you want to sit here and say that the cryptocurrency is going to be perpetrated by, you know, fraudulent actors or bad actors. It's nonsense, complete nonsense. They're just mad that they can't control it anymore. That's what's going on. Let's continue.
Is going in a different direction. If you think about it, go look in China where they're basically getting rid of cash. Everybody is paying with their smartphones. People who are begging in the streets have a little sign next to where they're sitting in the streets. These are people who really need help from society. Instead, they're sitting there begging for money. They have a sign with a code on it, a QR code. If you want to give them money, you point your cell phone at the QR code, hit a button, and they have a bank account. And that's the way they're getting their money. China is heading in the direction, and they've gone a very large way, as is India starting to do the same thing, of getting rid of cash. And one of the reasons is that you can then stop the black market and stop the drug dealers, and you can track where all the currency is going. We're not going to go in a different direction. Now, America may not be ready to go there, although we're going to be left behind if we don't, because this is a much more efficient ways of paying for goods and services.
So, Lloyd, that's
they're also going to know what everybody's doing with their money.
Of course they're going to know, but Google already knows exactly what you're doing.
And Amazon, by the way.
Complains
How much
in
am I
Amazon.
buying?
Nobody complains about that.
But, Lloyd, so that raises the question. You have to be thinking about an investment banking strategy with Bitcoin. I can't believe that you're not.
No, I don't have to be thinking about it.
You want to tell me that you're not talking to any of your guys?
What?
You're not talking to your guys about what the strategy is going to be?
But it was spending too. It's just, you know, we'll see. If it works out and it gets more established and it trades like a store of value and it doesn't move up and down 20% and there's liquidity in it, you know, we'll get to it. But you asked me, the original question was, when do small business people have to think about their Bitcoin strategy? I'd worry about opening the doors, producing things that people want to buy, dealing with their, you know, business planning.
So yeah, we'll get there. We'll get to Bitcoin when it doesn't fluctuate so much. It's hilarious. Yeah, where's the fraud going to come from? Eric says. I know. It's crazy. Yeah, they're mad that they can't see what's going on anymore. So let's see. I liked this interview. So it kind of breaks up the perspective. Basically, this guy is just saying that. Yeah, I'll let you listen to what he has to say.
If not $11,000, do you say these are the new tulips, or do you say this makes a lot of sense and it's only going higher?
Well, this was expected because Bitcoin right now has a lot of momentum, both from a psychology point of view and technically speaking, as well as the other cryptocurrencies. But we should stay away from just talking about valuations, because what this new pop, all it does, it gives you a new headline in the newspaper, so it does create some visibility and marketing. But what we really should focus on, more than the price itself, is the fact that this is about a new parallel financial system that is in the works. So what Bitcoin represents is a new type of currency that is very efficient. And we have to think about what that means and what the technology behind it is really enabling.
So he says a type of technology that's very efficient. Now, I would argue that it's much more efficient than the current system that we have, transferring money from country to country using our bank transfers and stuff like that. So with the status quo, yes, Bitcoin is extremely efficient. But arguably, its efficiency has yet to increase. And I think that its efficiency should be way ahead, way further ahead, with transacting and the time of transacting and fees and all that good stuff. So anyways, lots of room for it to grow. So, but I think it may have been a perspective from, the current system.
In terms of new financial products for this new system.
William, you've heard the likes of Jamie Dimon or even Prince Al Walid before he got put in the Ritz.
Sweet. So hold on. So somebody says, hey, what happened to Mt. Gox? So first of all, let's talk about what Mt. Gox was. Mt. Gox was a site where Magic the Gathering traders were going on and trading their cards or something rather. I think that was the original intent of the website, and then it kind of transformed because it kind of transformed to be this exchange where they were exchanging cryptocurrencies. This is way in the beginning of its time when cryptocurrencies first came out. So anyways, Mt. Gox got hacked. The website was hacked, not the blockchain, not Bitcoin, but Mt. Gox, the website, was hacked. Lots of people lost their shit. Absolutely, we should be more concerned about the security of websites, wallets, all of these things that actually contain value. It's like banks today. They put their money in vaults, or gold is stored in vaults, right? That is a security measure to make sure that nobody can access that stuff. Same thing has to happen technologically with software and websites and stuff like that. So what happened with this guy lost 10 Bitcoin there. It's a shame. It's a bummer. But that is the evolution of what is going on with the space, and people can't just come out and say, hey, I have a website here, come store your cryptocurrencies, we'll take care of it for you. That is still a centralized system, and you're still asking them to provide you with safety. Yeah, no insurance. Yep. I'm really pissed off. Dude, losing 10 Bitcoin, I'd be pissed off too. So if I were you, I'd probably, and maybe you already have, I'm just, I guess, just giving you my perspective, but I'd be more concerned about security. I'd make sure that I keep that on a hardware wallet and stuff like that, just to make sure your Bitcoin is safe, always. It's bringing our safety concerns back to the individual, which I think is incredibly important. Oh, it sounds like I'm underwater. Shit. I don't know what's going on with the mic, you guys. I don't know. Sorry. Let me restart the headset. Alright. So let's continue on with what these guys have to say.
As part of that arrest, talk about it as a fraud, talk about it as the next Enron. When you think about the downsides to a Bitcoin, one of the things that you don't hear people talk about the way they did even a year ago is the ability for it to be, quote unquote, forked. This idea that potentially the rules of the game and the chain itself could change. People always like to talk about it as sort of this self-correcting system, but is that really the case?
Well, the fact that what Jamie Dimon and Principal Walid are saying, I mean, these are the establishments. And they will always be trying to go against something new. So that is a good thing if they are criticizing the currency. The currency has been very resilient, and it is a better system today from an efficiency point of view. And it is getting traction from big companies. It is getting traction from funds, even the banks. I would say that the banks need Bitcoin more than Bitcoin or cryptocurrency needs the bank.
But I think the question is, what you hear the banks say and what you hear government officials say is, look, there is no Federal Reserve, if you will, of Bitcoin. And what I'm trying to understand is, you know, we talk about how it can be mined, how limited a number of new Bitcoins there really are going to be in the world. But my question to you is, from a technological perspective, could that change? Could there be a rush of new supply, for example? Well, there have been issues with forking. There's been issues with forking of all sorts of different cryptocurrencies.
That's okay. This is normal. It's not a bad thing. Right now, Bitcoin is half of all of the cryptocurrencies. It's not going to be the only one. So every cryptocurrency will have its own governance, its own monetary policy, and this is part of the evolution. So I don't think it's a problem. So it's a way of whether you see the glass half full or half empty. Right. And right now, despite the fact that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency have been getting lots of headwinds, and the headwinds are from the big enterprises, the headwinds are from the big regulators, and the headwinds are from the traditional establishment that doesn't want it to move. Despite of that, it is moving. Imagine if some of these current players start to become more positive on Bitcoin. Lately, the CME decided that they will have a product based on Bitcoin.
Right.
So all of these will help.
Yeah, so that one was good. Basically, his message was that Bitcoin doesn't need banks. So Johnny keeps asking. I'm surprised we didn't hear about more people who lost their money. I think it was like something $300 million that were lost. Yeah. And he's asking how to get it back. And you probably are not going to get it back. He's out $100 grand. I mean, yeah, absolutely. It comes with the nature of thinking that your bitcoins were safe on an exchange where somebody had your private keys. So this is where the misconception of people hacking into the Bitcoin blockchain versus just being able to access your keys and your funds. So an exchange has access to those things, all your information. Hence, they have access to that honeypot. And that's exactly what Mt. Gox was just a honeypot waiting for a hacker to come in and steal that information, just like we saw with the Equifax hack. Nobody cares about the 350 million people who got their information stolen. But same thing. A central entity controlling your stuff. That's why you have to maintain control of your private key. Let's see what else he says. You know, governments want a piece of the action no matter what. They are going to want a piece of the action, absolutely. And they're either going to get with the program or they're going to, be left in the dust for sure. And that's what's going to happen. It's just the nature of and the beauty of blockchain. I love it. It revives my I guess my outlook on humanity. It's really, really good thing. And I know you said something about putting it on a thumb drive. I'm trying to find that. So if you put it on a flash drive or a thumb drive, basically all you're doing is storing your seeds. But by storing your seeds, you could access your wallet from anywhere, any computer and stuff like that. So just because you store it on a thumb drive and lose it, don't let this last episode of The Big Bang Theory scare you. But it's all good. Oh, by the way, Johnny, do you own any Bitcoin right now? I'm curious. Um, anyways, I wanted to...
Square was going to allow...
Oops, sorry. I just wanted to play this one last video. Basically, Square Cash is going to be accepting Bitcoin as payment now. And Square Cash is basically that, you know, the little device that a lot of the small businesses and stuff use. So accepting Bitcoin is a huge step towards mass adoption. It's actually incredible. No, he does not own any. Too much pain. I understand. I understand. Hopefully, you don't dwell too much on the past, and you know, let it pave something new for you in the future, man. Good luck to you, because that is a shame. It does suck. I'd probably be depressed for a few too if I lost that much money. Yeah. But let's remember, let's not disparage Bitcoin or the blockchain by losing our money, but rather take accountability for not, you know, keeping that stuff a little more secure and doing what we can to make sure that it's safe. Yeah, you know what? I won't even play this. I'll end it with that. I just wanted to give you guys a perspective of what the establishment thinks about Bitcoin and the blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and what you know, the average person like you and I should look at it as. Let's not tap. You know, they're trying to tap into our fears by saying bad people use it. And government's going to regulate it. You know, we're coming for you. Blah 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 blah. But the fact of the matter is, there's probably going to be nothing that these guys can do to stop it. So the only thing that they can probably do to make sure that they still have some kind of leverage in society is work with regulators to make sure that, you know, it rolls out smoothly for them. So anyway, cheers, you guys. I hope that was some good stuff for you. If you have any questions, just pop them in the chat, and we'll address them. But I think it's important to get the conversations going on this stuff, and make sure that mainstream media isn't steering the narrative, because we know about 95, maybe 99% of the time it's horseshit. Okay, remember that. Keep your thinking caps on, you guys. And discern the reality around you as honestly as you can. Okay? Alright, with that, cheers, my friends. Later.